Thank you for our leaders. Most importantly, we thank you for those who are here, those who are on their way, if they get here safe and sound. And Father, we are looking forward to a great year. We are looking forward because it's our time and our turn. And we thank you for it in your precious name, Jesus, and according to your faith, amen. Amen. God bless you. Hallelujah.
Thank you, Pastor Baker. My name is Richard Blackwell, the chair of Community Board 3, and I just again would like to welcome everyone to the January meeting, our first meeting of the year, first meeting of the decade, and I'm going to just start with a few good welfare items. First of all, I just wanted to recognize the officers who were elected at our last meeting of the year. So I would ask if yes, all the officers are here. I'm not sure. If you could just stand and wave your hand. First, Vice Chair Anthony Busseret. Secretary Stacy Ruffin. And second Vice Chair Simone Pratt. Is our treasurer here, Doris? Doris Penn. Okay, so C. Doris Penn in absentia is elected as our treasurer for the year. C. Doris Penn. And myself, yours truly, again, Richard Plateau, the chair. So, just a couple of other good welfare items. I would like to acknowledge the passing of Carl Edgar Johnson, who is the father of Dr. Deborah Lamb. Please keep Dr. Lamb in your prayers. Dr. Lamb lost her mother earlier this year, and she lost her father on December 13th. So please keep her in your prayers. Also, on behalf of the community board, I'd like to send out my sincere condolences to the families of Mindy Lorenz, Douglas Miguel Rodriguez, and Moshe Deutsch, who was senselessly murdered in the Jersey City kosher supermarket. Some of you may not know, but the owners of the deli were members of the Satmar community, who are our neighbors in the northern part of our district and Williamsburg. And as a community, I feel that we must take a stand against those who blindly hate and will try to divide us. On a more positive note, District Manager Henry Butler was honored by the nonprofit organization Sisters with the Purpose at their holiday mixer on December 13th. Just a couple of other things I want to say in my remarks. Every month I attend a borough board meeting, which is meeting takes place in Borough Hall. The last meeting for the year was December 3rd at 6 p.m. The borough board consists of all the community board chairs and all the council members for Brooklyn. Public is welcome to attend. The next meeting is actually tomorrow at Borough Hall. So the main items on the agenda for the December meeting were a presentation by the Brooklyn Solid Waste Advisory Board. They were talking about organic recycling. It's been suspended in Brooklyn for quite a while, and there needs to be a lot more information out about the brown plastic pails. A lot of people don't know what to do with them. Finally, there was a presentation by Popular Bank. They're trying to get a designation for a banking development district given by the state banking department. They have a branch in Brownsville. The only item that was well, the designation would allow them to get deposits from the state and from the city governments. The only item that we voted on was the last one regarding Popular Bank's request for banking development district designation, and the borough board voted to give them a letter of support. So that is it for my opening remarks. I'm going to just quickly go through the agenda. After I go over the agenda, we're going to have acknowledgement of elected officials and community partners, followed by the district manager's report given by Mr. Henry Butler. We have a informational presentation from the Senior Service Committee, and it's going to be given by the New York Memory Center. Thank you. Okay. We have 2 public hearings coming out of the Economic Development Committee for requests for letters of support for liquor licenses. One will be for business at 1567 Fulton Street, and the second one will be by a business located at 310 Tompkins Avenue. Following the 2 public hearings, we're going to have community announcements. And if you haven't signed up yet, I think we're still taking people. You can fill out a index card and you can do a 2-minute community announcement. Followed by community announcements, we're going to have a roll call for the board members, committee updates and resolutions. Then we will be taking action on the public hearing. We're going to be taking a vote on the 2 public hearings, request for letters of support for liquor licenses, followed by chairperson's report, followed by acceptance of December 2nd minutes, and then we will be adjourned. So we're going to so I was informed that we have employees from the Census Bureau. They're signing people up if you want to apply for jobs with the census. They have several representatives from the census that are out in the hallway. So we're going to start with the acknowledgement of elected officials and community partners. The first 2 will be, we have new commanding officers for our precinct. So we have for the 79th precinct, Captain Glenn, and then he's going to be followed by, I'm sorry, Captain Glenn is the 8-1 side, so I got it mixed up. Followed by the new commanding officer for the 79th precinct, Deputy Inspector Timothy Stretch.
Come on down. Good evening, everyone. I'm Captain Glenn from the 8th. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm excited to be here. I served as commanding officer of the 94th precinct the last 2 years. I was in East New York. And like I said earlier, I'm very excited to be here. I'm open lines of communication and cooperation. So thank you.
I've been over there. I'm coming over from Williamsburg right now, the 9th precinct, where me and Billy work hand in hand with Community Board 1. Tremendous community involvement here. I was there as working with Chief LaPetri, who most of you are all familiar with. I was former commander of 7-9. And then following getting promoted captain in 2016, I worked in the Narcotics Bureau over in East New York and Brownsville, followed by the detective squad over in the 7-5, where again, one of the people I worked hand in hand with was Chief Shell. 9-0 precinct for the last about 20 months, from 2018 till December, about 2 weeks ago, when he got transferred here. And ironically, the person after Chief Shell left East New York and went to the Detective Bureau, the person that I returned to for advice, I'm sure Billy as well, was Inspector Mitch. So the last 3 leaders of 79th Precinct are people that I consider mentors. Hopefully they served you well. Very, very tough shoes to fill, but I am extremely excited to be here and look forward to meeting all of you in person, not only in this forum, and working with all of you. So, Happy New Year to everybody, and thank you for welcoming us out here tonight.
So we've been joined by one of our council members, so if you could please be ready in this order, and if you could keep your remarks to 2 minutes. Council member Alika Anthony Samuel, to be followed by Representative from Controller Scott Stringer's office, Nicholas Perry, to be followed by Jabril Jalal from Public Advocate Jamani Williams.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. My name is actually pronounced Ali Ka. My father's name was Ali, so I get the whole L-I-C-K with thing. So since I only have 2 minutes, I tried to make sure that I put everything on paper and read off my notes in the interest of time, trying to be respectful. First off, on Saturday, I'm not sure if somebody from the Attorney General's office is actually going to speak, but the Attorney General and all of her staff are going to do a series of door knocking campaigns throughout Bed-Stuy, Crown Heights, and East Flatbush. And the purpose of the door knocking campaign is to make sure that we are working with homeowners to protect their homes against deed, theft, and fraud. And so I myself personally, along with my staffers and so many others, will be working with the Attorney General to do door knocking. So I will be out in Bed-Stuy and in Crown Heights knocking on doors on Saturday, just to talk to homeowners to make sure that they know what's happening, and if they need any additional resources from the city, and just making sure that we protect our community and our homes. Next, I'm sick and tired of this seeing hotels turn into shelters. And so we always complain about it and we see when they come up, but there's not a lot of regulations around the hotel industry, but we know that they're doing it to circumvent the system and turn them into shelters. And so I did introduce a series of bills to make sure that we figure out a way to legislate around stopping the hotels from turning into shelters. And so that's something that we're working on in the council now, and we're very aggressive with it, and the speaker's on board. So if you'd like more information about that, please reach out to my office or me personally. I'll be around for the rest of the night. It's budget season. So what that means is if you have a community-based organization, a nonprofit organization, a 501c3, and you normally apply or have not and would like to apply for city funds, the application process is open now. The window opened on January 2nd and will close on February 18th. So again, if you're a nonprofit organization, 501c3, community-based organization, and looking to apply for discretionary funds from the city council, the window of opportunity is now. If you have questions, you can see me later. And as far as this is 2020, I know that someone's going to do a presentation, but my office is open every Friday for those who would like to apply. And we do have representatives from the Census 2020 in our office. Again, that's every single Friday. So please come by, stop by. It's very necessary. And the last thing, land use. Based on recommendations from the borough president, there was a discussion, I want to say at the last board meeting in reference to the NIHOP with the co-op apartments coming up on Ralph Avenue between Herkimer and Atlantic Avenue. I know that was up for discussion, but right now I'm working with the borough president because some of the numbers were a little too high based on the AMI levels. So we are looking to get more 80% AMI and a little fewer of the 110 in order to meet the requirements for the cost of $250,000 for like a 2-bedroom co-op apartment. And so we're still playing with the numbers, so I'm sure they will be back in reference to that. And I'm just checking my cues from the board and the land use and everything else. So thank you so much.
Thank you. So we follow Nicholas Perry, followed by Jabril Jalal, followed by Representative from Brooklyn, D.A. Gonzalez office, Shelton Jones, followed by Representative for Councilmember Robert Cornegie, Jacqueline Wright.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nicholas Perry. I'm a representative for our New York City Comptroller, Scott Stringer. I don't have anything to report tonight, but I do want to extend a Happy New Year to Community Board 3 on behalf of the New York City Comptroller. And if you would like to get in touch with me For our office, you can reach me directly at 646-499-0749. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, happy New Year, how's everyone doing? My name is Jabril Jallo, I'm the new Brooklyn Borough Advocate for Public Advocate Jamani Williams, I'm going to be very brief as well. Thank you. For those of you who don't know, real quick, the Public Advocate is a citywide elected official who serves as a direct link between the people and government. Our office oversees the agencies and provides oversight, holds them accountable. And we also provide legislative solutions to council to make government work better for you all. I have one thing I want to stress, I didn't come with any announcements, but one thing I want to stress is the census. Please try to join the census 2020 team, or have friends or family join the team. Brooklyn had the worst response rate last decade. We can't have that happen again, let's stop. So please. The meeting starts March, census day is April 1st, 2020. Please, we need to get those numbers up for some of our business others and representation. So please turn out that side. Thank you. And I'm gonna hang out after this folks want to connect. I'll talk to you a lot. Thank you.
Shelton. Good evening, everyone. My name is Shelton Jones, and I'm here representing Brooklyn DA Eric Gonzalez. I bring you Happy New Year and greetings from Eric Gonzalez. So I'm going to get right into my announcements. I only have two. One, at the end of 2019, mid-December, the DA announced a 48-count conspiracy indictment against 10 gang members who were responsible for 2 shootings, 2 murders, and 7 shootings, as well as drug dealing in Brooklyn. Some of these things happened right here in Bedford, also in Flatbush and in Brownsville. One of the individuals who ran the gang from prison, he was still running the gang from prison, had over $25,000 in his commissary. So he was still getting paid for the work that was going on in the street. But all of these individuals have been indicted. They are awaiting their day in court, and we will look to make sure that they are fairly prosecuted and spend time in jail for their dirty deeds. The next thing I want to talk about is we're having an event on January 13th. It's called a human trafficking event. It will be held at Brooklyn Borough Hall from 5 to 8 p.m. That's 209 Geraldo Street. If you are interested in coming, you can just show up or you could RSVP. The flyer looks like this and it's out on the table. Again, my name is Shelton Jones. I can be reached at 718-250-3146. Again, that's 718-250-3146. Please leave a message, because if you don't, I don't know that you called. But if you leave a message, I will return your call in 24 hours. You can also check out the DA on Twitter. He tweets a lot. His handle is @BrooklynDA, and also our website, www.brooklynda.org. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Yes, sir. So we're going to have next Jacqueline Wright Williams, representing Councilmember Quantity, followed by Maceo Kareem from Assemblywoman Jermaine Wright's office, followed by Karen Cherry.
Oh, yeah, I was here first.
From Assemblymember Eric Delan's office, followed by Oladiki Alabi, District Leader from 57th District.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Wright Williams, and I bring greetings on behalf of Councilmember Robert E. Quantity Jr., who wishes everyone a happy new year, a healthy, prosperous, and blessed new year. I just have a few announcements on his behalf. We have a monthly advisory board meeting this Saturday, January 11th, from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. We will be addressing Know Your Rights, tenant support and resources. This is with regards to tenant displacement, income discrimination, tenants protection, rights for utility consumers, illegal eviction, housing legislation. And we will have several persons presenting and facilitating on this day. We have Impact Brooklyn, the Fair Housing Justice Center, HRA Tenant Support Unit, Mayor's Public Engagement Unit, the Public Utility Law Program, our very own 79th precinct, and we will have a legislative update as well. And like, Councilwoman, Samuels had made mention, the Attorney General is having a door knocking event at that time. So the council member will pop into the advisory board. However, he too will be door knocking alongside his fellow colleagues and other elected officials. We want to also just make note that there are so many losses taking place with regards to home, from deed theft to deed fraud to foreclosures. It's so much third-party transfers, and we do have a staff member that is, his expertise and specialty is targeted for persons that are going through one or several of these situations. And we have, as an office, helped out in the past, so we want to continue helping our community persons, our constituents. So if you have any questions, or if you'd like to set an appointment, you can call our office at 718-919-0740, and we'll gladly put you on calendar. Have a wonderful evening. God bless.
Good evening, my name is Mason from the Southern Women Human Rights Office. We bring greetings from Albany. Happy New Year, everyone. I just want to look at some of the highlights of last year, which would be improved tenant protection. The Southern Women, the Crown Act is law. Marijuana reform and protection of homeowner rights. So those are some of the accomplishments that she has done in the assembly thus far. And I handed out, if you don't have it, it will be on the desk outside. And happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you. Karen Cherry, followed by District Leader Olanike Olave, followed by the Chief of Staff for Assemblywoman Latrice Walker Isis McIntosh.
Good evening. I don't have anything to report, but on behalf of Assemblyman Eric DeLon and myself, I'd like to wish everyone a happy New Year. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Good evening. It's good to see you all and happy New Year. I'm happy to see the census here tonight because we fill out the census for two reasons: political representation and, of course, funding. So I'm sure they'll tell you more information about that. Finally, quick reminder, we vote 3 times this year. April is the presidential primary, June is the state and federal primary, November is the general election. So if you know anyone who needs to be registered, make sure that you spread the word and turn them over to the Board of Elections. Thank you and enjoy the evening.
Happy New Year, everyone. My name is Isis McIntosh, and I'm Chief of Staff to Assemblywoman Latrice Walker, District 55. We just wanted to wish you all a Happy New Year. Now that we are back in January, we are having, I don't want to say an expedited session, but the Assemblywoman is heading back to Albany. We'll be in session 2 days this week, 3 days next week, and just pushing along up until the beginning of June. Tomorrow, however, we will be having an event at our office in coordination with the Citizens Committee for New York City, and I have some flyers on the table outside. If you are part of a community group, or if you're just a person that's looking to do work in the community, some type of neighborhood grant, the Citizens Committee, every year, they open a grant that you can receive up to $3,000 to actually do something in the community, whether that's at a school, whether that's at a playground, whether that's actually maybe helping get out some of this, getting out the count for the census. So we are going to be having an event tomorrow at our office. Essentially the doors will be open at 5:30 p.m., but the meeting will start promptly at 6 p.m. Even if you can only stay for a few moments, there will be copies of the application there, and they'll walk you through the steps necessary. So this is for people that are part of an organization, and even if you do not have your 501c3 status. Thank you.
So next is going to be Lucian Allen from Assembly Member Walter Mosley's office, followed by Tahira Maynard, representing Councilmember Lloyd Pump.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. Again, Lucian Allen, I'm the community liaison for Stuyvesant, Walter Mosley. There's two events one event and just one other update I want to share with you. One, Assembly member is deeply vested in addressing the high rates of gentrification within Brooklyn. So as such, he is a sponsor of Bill 8848. This is to repeal Section 421A of the Real Property Tax Law. So hopefully the works that will take place with this bill will address the number of affordable, housing units that are actually affordable units that are actually available for us within the neighborhoods.
Put the mic to the mouth.
Sorry. So, so that Assemblyman is working on that bill, so I will definitely be sharing information with you as that bill develops. Second, we are having our 7th annual Youth Job Fair and Career Expo. It's going to be Friday, January 24th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Sherwood Chisholm Building. There's 55 Hanson Place. It's for the youth ages 14 to 24. Employment opportunities, full-time jobs, part-time jobs, internships, and apprenticeships. So if there's if any of you have children or family members have children themselves that you would like to share this information with, I hope you will be able to share that information with them. The flyers are outside on the table. If anybody needs digital copies, you can feel free to call the office and I can email that information to you. If you do not have the number to the office, it's 718-516-0100. Again, if there are any issues you'd like me to relate to these supplement, I'll be welcome. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to acknowledge Ryan Perry from Interfaith Hospitals. What do you call it?
One Brooklyn Health.
One Brooklyn Health, and also former chair of the Community Board. So we're going to have Tahira Maynard representing Councilmember Lori Pombo, followed by Daniel Fisher from the 81st Precinct Council, followed by Leon Reed from Brooklyn Job Corps, followed by Ali Issa representing the New Economy Project.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Tahira Maynard. I'm the Director of Budget for District 35, our Republican Majority Leader, Lori Combo. I would like to say Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you. I have a few quick updates. One is a highlight of recent legislation that was passed. This legislation was passed on December 19th at the stated event. On December 19th, City Council passed a new requirement that developers who receive city financial assistance of housing development projects must have a mandatory 15% set aside for homeless individuals and families. Starting in July 2020, the Council and City Department of Housing Preservation and Development will work with developers on the set asides for individuals, homeless individuals and their families. I would also like to highlight that Brooklyn Public Library Grand Central branch, oh my God, Central Library location, they are having grant workshops. So introduction to finding grants, introduction to proposal writing, and introduction to Foundation Directory online system. So if anyone is interested in finding out how to get funding from private foundations or want to learn about fundraising, they can go to the workshops at BPL. You can just search on the Brooklyn Public Library website. Lastly, this was mentioned by Councilmember Alika and Samuels, but I'm going to highlight that for those individuals interested in applying for discretionary funding through the expense application that is now public for nonprofit organizations, community-based organizations, and the application is available until February 18th. That's it.
I feel at home here again, back at Community Board 3, down in the basement here at Restoration. How y'all doing tonight, everybody? All right, let's really break the try a little bit. Well, Happy New Year and Happy New Decade, right? 2020, the roaring 20s are back in the new economy, right? I'm so happy to see so many of you here tonight. So many of my good friends who come to my meeting all the time, but just my fellow friends and family and neighbors in the Bedford Stuyvesant community. You all look great. So I'm just happy that you're all here, starting the new year and new decade with me. We have a lot of work to do. Our neighborhood is continuing under siege. We have some real work to do. So I want us all with smiles, come out with smiles, but come out and serious and ready to work. These meetings are important here at Community Work Week, so I want to continue to see all of you here. As well as my meetings are important. I am the president of 81st Precinct Community Council, and if you don't know right now, my name is Dan Chief Bishop. Okay, all right. They give a big round of applause. I was looking. But there we go. I had a whole speech prepared for our new commanding officer, Captain William Glenn, but he spoke. You heard me speak personally, so I'll delay that. But on Tuesday, the 14th, at our meeting, he is our special guest. You don't always have a special guest. Well, he is our special guest. We put him on the hot seat. We'll get a chance to not interrogate him, but certainly ask him a lot of questions about his background, where is he from, what he plans to do, what does he see the future of the 81st Precinct, where is the future of the 81st Precinct going. So I implore all of you all to come on out. I just want to go over a few things real quick. Our meeting is the 14th at 1958 Fulton Street at the Multi-Service Center at 7 p.m. You know, we always have dinner. We have late dinner, so come on by. We had a wonderful Christmas, our children's Christmas party was outstanding. On December 21st, we always partner with, we've been partnering lately with Chief Madry when he does his sleigh ride, so that was fantastic. We made a lot of young people happy and just helped make their Christmas a really nice Christmas. You may have heard last month that we were doing our Christmas concert. Well, it got postponed and it's going to be slightly under a different name. It can't be a Christmas concert in January, but we'll figure that out. It's going to be on Saturday, January 25th at Christ Fellowship Baptist Church, also at 7 p.m. And the tickets are rocking free. So come on out, the tickets are free. We'll just ask probably for a volunteer. I welcome you all. I have about 15 more seconds. Okay, everybody have a happy New Year and a happy new decade, all right?
Our next speaker, I just wanted to acknowledge the new executive director of the Bedford Wives, Sonia Atherley.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. I'm Leon Reed from the Brooklyn Job Corps, over at DCAP and Toastrid. You certainly have my information already, so it's pretty good. But just a reminder, we offer free career training to youths, 16 and a half to 24. So certainly it's something you should investigate and communicate for youths. That you don't have to not be doing anything. There's different avenues, there are different opportunities out there, and certainly we are one of those opportunities that they should be investing in. I have my flyers outside as well. You do have a copy of my orientation. The session is every Wednesday at 8:45 a.m. We offer tour for facilities, and certainly they get to see what it is we do. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? Thanks so much for having me. My name is Alisa. I'm with New Economy Project. This is an organization that works with community groups to try to build an economy that works for all, based on principles of cooperation, equity, democracy, racial justice, and environmental sustainability. New Economy Project that convenes the Public Bank NYC Coalition, which is why I'm here to talk to you tonight. Public Bank NYC is a coalition of over 30 community, workers' rights, economic justice, student, and housing justice groups. It also includes financial cooperatives such as the Brooklyn Federal Cooperative Credit Union. Anybody familiar with that credit union?
Yeah.
Right around here? Among other cooperatives. And our mission mainly is to try to make public money work for the public good, not private gain. And that means that we're pushing the NYC to establish a public bank. There's our logo, check out our logo, I'm proud of it. It's a fist, it's a bank logo. So that we can use NYC's public money to invest in community needs. It'll be a bank owned and controlled by the city, but not mostly workers, and allow us to invest in what we need. So at the moment, New York City, by law, must deposit its money in private banks. That's by and large the Wall Street banks, such as Chase, Bank of America, and Citibank. Those are the same banks that routinely exploit and extract from low-income communities and communities of color, and in our view, do not serve community needs. So the public bank rather would invest that tens of billions that we give to the city through taxes and fees in deeply affordable housing, in small and worker-owned businesses, in community-controlled renewable energy, and more. While at the same time divesting from Wall Street banks, which invest in abusive landlords, predatory real estate, fossil fuels, arms trade, and more. So we want to introduce that idea to you. The Public Bank Coalition is going to be introducing legislation to lay the groundwork at the city council level for the public bank. We're also initiating a small and worker-owned business story bank so that businesses around neighborhoods like Bedford can share their experiences with finance and what we believe show the need for a public bank. And finally, we're going to return to the Economic Development Committee where it presented last month to draft a resolution. If it passes there, we'll bring it back to this meeting so you hopefully can sign that letter of support and support the public bank. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Our last community partner is going to be Representative Brooklyn NAACP, Stephanie Zimmerman.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Happy New Year, Happy New Decade. I am so excited about what this next 10 years is going to mean for our community with your assistance. Are you ready to prepare for the next 10 years? Yes. Yeah. So has everybody in the audience already made their pledge to complete the census form? Yes. Have you made the pledge to complete the census form by March 12th? Yes. Absolutely. Have you made the pledge to help organize your block by March 12th? Yes. There's not so many yeses there. Not so many yeses there. Well, good. Because I'm here with the Count My Block pledge just for you. If you complete details about what it is that you need to do. We want Bedford-Stuyvesant to be completely counted by March 13th, so that on April 1st, we can celebrate that we've done our part to make sure that Brooklyn is counted 100%. Is that something we can do, everyone? Yes. Are you? Thank you so very much. So by a show of hands, how many people in the audience are already community partners with regard to the census? Okay, so if you have not raised your hand, you need to take a card and we need to have a conversation. So there are 3 dates that I want to give you, and then I'm gonna give the mic back so we can continue with our meeting. So on the 28th of this month, we are going to conduct our last and final training right here in Restoration upstairs in the multi-purpose room. We are hiring 60 organizers. 12 of them have to come from Bedford-Stuyvesant. Do you know somebody that needs a job? Yeah. Okay, very good. So if you need a job or you know someone who needs a job, please make sure that they come to that training. It is from 5 to 9 p.m. in the multi-purpose room on Tuesday, January the 28th. Okay? They're going to have a month to get up to speed because we have a lot of work to do to get everybody counted by March 12th, yes? Yes. All righty, very good. So, community partners. We have a Black Census Coalition that will be having a meeting on January 16th. This is a meeting of all people who have received funding from the city council that are going to be working in African descended communities. So if you are a group that has been doing census work but you did not get funded, I still need you to come to that meeting. Because you need to talk to people who have some money so they can share the wealth so we can get this work done, yes? Yes. Somebody say share the wealth. Share the wealth. All right, very good. And I gotta close. So please come and see me. You're gonna get your I know I got another day, but he just made me forget what third day is. The 28th. We said the 16th. I got one more day. Remember to come back. When I remember, I'm gonna come around. I'm gonna give you a card. But you all, we know we need to do this work, we know why we need to do this work. Money and power, we can't afford to lose it. Please, please, please start to come up with your work plan in order to count your block. All right.
Thank you. All right. We're gonna move on to the next part of our agenda. We'll have the district manager's report to be given by Mr. Henry Butler.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Try to make this quick, get this agenda going. The district manager's monthly report is out on the table. It's the green paper. I'm just gonna go through this quick. First on the report, the MTA $5.5 billion capital plan for 2020 to 2024 includes 3 stations within Community Board 3 that will receive ADA upgrades. They are the Ocean Avenue A station, the Classen Avenue G station, and the Myrtle Avenue JMZ station. So if you remember, there was a New York one was out here last month when we were trying to get Bedford entrance open on the Ocean Avenue end. I'm assuming that's the entrance that they're gonna make ADA accessible. I can't see how they're gonna make Ocean Avenue inclusive ADA accessible because the sidewalks are so small. But we are going to have a MTA town hall coming up in the end of April. We don't have the exact date yet. We should have it by next month's board meeting, where we can have all our MTA New York City transit questions answered at that April town hall. That will be hosted by our Transportation, Sanitation, Environment Committee. Second, also on the agenda item, Department of Homeless Services, there was a women's shelter at 85 Lexington between Claxton and Franklin. It has been converted from a women's shelter to a men's shelter. They told me the men were coming in as of today. They claim that this happened because they have more homeless single men, and that's the most populated demographic that they have, so that's why they had to make that change. I'm actually having a meeting tomorrow with the borough president and DHS about this change that took place. It was a shelter, so what they did, they just changed the population. It's not like it's a new shelter, they just removed the women and they're bringing the men in. So we're gonna have a meeting tomorrow morning, borough president, myself, along with DHS. That's tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. at Borough Hall. The Department of Sanitation, the new garage, we met with the Sanitation Department, I said our committee met with the Sanitation Department. The garage is a $169 million project. There's a 30% MWB requirement for this project, which comes to $51 million. The project was contracted out back in March 2019, and the projected is expected to take 36 months to complete. With HPD, the next community workshop for the Bedford Housing Initiative, the 5 properties that we've been talking about, is January 15th. It will take place right here in this room. That will be a third opportunity to get input on those 5 properties. One is on Myrtle between Nostrand and Marcy. The other one is by Boys and Girls High School. The other 3 are Fulton Ralph, Fulton Howard, Fulton Saratoga, and Councilmember Lisa Samuels District in the 41st. So that meeting is taking place next Wednesday right here in this room. That's a workshop that will be taking place. At the monthly Borough Service Cabinet meeting, that's our meeting at Borough Hall. The workshop starts at 6:30. That flyer is actually out there. So you should always within the packet, if you pick the packet. That flyer looks like this for the workshop. That's this flyer. At the Borough Service Cabinet meeting, we had a presentation by National Grid. Where they were talking about the automated meter readings. 95% of the city is completed. But CB3 has close to 600 households who have not received the automatic meter readings. It takes 5 to 10 minutes to install. There is no interruption to your gas service, and they say the battery lasts 12 to 15 years. If you have any questions or issues or concerns about this, then please reach out to our office, and we will try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. We had a presentation by the Department of Buildings about local law 92 and 94, the green roof, solar roof installation. All new buildings are required, particularly new commercial buildings, are required to build a green roof or a solar roof. For example, like that was at the Barclays or the Javits Center. Also, there was a presentation by the Girl Scouts troop, Girl Scout Troop 6000. I want to mention them because That troop focuses on girls and their mothers living in New York City shelters, and they're looking for volunteers. That flyer is out there on the table, so if that's something you're interested in, please, try to volunteer to help this Troop 6000, who focuses on girls and their mothers living in shelters. As mentioned earlier, the census, they are out there, they're signing people up. It's $28 an hour, so I'm sure there's a lot of us that can use that $28 an hour. And they're flexible. The schedule is flexible. You can do part-time, you can do weekends. So if you're interested, please go up and sign up with them today. Speaking of the census, also, the Macon Block Association between Patchen and Rock, which happens to be my block association, we are meeting with the census also on January 18th. Everyone is invited, and at that meeting, they also will be signing people up. Besides giving out information, we will be having people sign up to work the census. That's taking place at Excellence Boys Charter School, 225 Patchen, between Macon and McDonough. That flyer is out there also. The CB3 Census Committee, our next meeting is January 29th, 6 p.m. in the Community Board office. That flyer is out there also. And it's been mentioned earlier, this Saturday, the Attorney General Tish James, a call to action, that's taking place this Saturday, 10 a.m. That flyer is also out there. The last thing I will mention, there is an application for housing. On the application, it says Clinton Hills. It's actually Bedford Stuyvesant. It's the apartment building that's on Franklin and Fulton. So we had to have them change, this is the old flyer, that's why it still says Clinton Hills, but I had to call them up and make sure they change it for it to say Bedford Stuyvesant. Also, there's a Blink going in there, and Blink advertised the neighborhood as Clinton Hill, and I had to call them up and tell them it's Bedford Stuyvesant and it's not Clinton Hill. That is, ladies and gentlemen, and my real estate people, we have some real estate people over here. That's not Clinton Hills East. That's Bedford Stuyvesant. That's not Clinton Hills East. Bedford Stuyvesant goes to Classen Avenue. That is the border between Bed-Stuy and CB2. Okay. But this particular building, they do have the 80% AMI, which are to the left. For example, studios are going for 1,097, the one bedroom, 1,100, the three bedrooms, 1,500. That's the 80% AMI, and the councilman was mentioning that earlier. So, for example, 130 AMI for studio is $2,000. So you see the difference between 130 AMI and 80% AMI. So the 80% AMI is 1,100, and the 130 AMI is $2,000. So I know a lot of us are going to be filling out for the 80% AMI. And last but not least, as we know, this is January, we celebrate MLK, and there are several events going on. 500 men, they are having a service weekend. This is the flyer where they will be doing work starting that Friday of MLK weekend, going into Monday. It's actually 24 hours from Friday through Monday. And for this year, they will be doing renovations and fixing up Bedford Central Presbyterian Church located at 1200 Dean Street. If you have any questions for me, I will be here all the way to the end of this meeting. So just come up to me and I will try to answer your questions to the best of my ability. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. We're going to go on to the presentations part of our meeting. So we're going to start with informational presentation. Is Dr. Kim Bester? Is there somebody here from the senior? Okay, so the presentation is going to be introduced by Mary Head from the Senior Citizens Committee, Vice Chair.
Good evening. We're so happy you're here today. Just come up. They met with us 2 or 3 times, so we're happy you're here tonight. And they have an excellent service, and I'm gonna let them tell you about it. They also did services.
No.
No, promise. Your excellent services in the city. Thank you.
And the presentation is going to be given by the New York Memory Center. New York Memory Center.
Good evening, everyone. How are you doing tonight? Does anybody need to get up and stretch? If you don't able to shake it out, I feel like it's, the arm's getting a little itchy. So if you need to, feel free, please. I know it always helps me, when you're sitting in a meeting and everything, sometimes you gotta do it. My name is Megan Chris. I am the caregiver social worker at New York Memory Center.
Hi, I'm Josephine Brown, the Executive Director of New York Memory Center. Sorry, can you hear me now? Yeah. Sorry, Josephine Brown from New York Memory Center. I'm the Executive Director.
So, my name is Megan Chris. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. And this is our executive director, wonderful executive director, Josephine Brown. So we'll try to make sure we're speaking into the mic as we're presenting. So some of you, I actually noticed some faces because we do a lot of outreach in the community. So I see a lot of familiar faces, but hopefully for those of you who don't know about New York Memory Center, at the end of our presentation, you will know. Tune in as we tell you about all of our wonderful programs and services. And we want to let you know that we are a Brooklyn-wide organization, and we are already partnered and doing a lot of work here in Bed-Stuy, but we're always looking for more ways to get involved. So we have family caregivers who are taking care of family members with Alzheimer's or other types of memory loss who we're serving, and then those individuals with memory loss, many of them are also attending our day programs, which we're going to tell you more about. We partnered with Restoration Plaza many times, the WellCare Welcome Room, Fort Greene Council, and we've been doing more work with CB3 lately, which we're very happy about, and we're at many health and community fairs and faith-based organizations around the community. So you may see us, and we hope that we'll see you and you'll continue to learn more about us. And especially if you or someone you know may need our services, that you'll reach out and contact us because we're here to help. We did not pass out the handouts, but there are some on the table. So be looking for this flyer. We have it in English, Spanish, Haitian Creole, and then we have a packet of flyers as well. For anyone who speaks Spanish, we have the basics of Alzheimer's in Spanish this Wednesday from 5 to 6:30. It's a presentation given by Lisette Valois. She's from the Alzheimer's Association. It should be a wonderful time if you're interested. So for those of you who can see our presentation here, we're going to go into some of the history and overview of our organization.
Thanks, I don't do well with mics. Okay, is that better? Yes. Okay, great. It's gonna do this after a while. But anyway, so New York Memory Center has been in existence since 1983. For 36 years, we've been community-based in Parksville, Brooklyn, where we service all of Brooklyn. We provide our own transportation, round trip to and from homes and, to the center. We do provide senior shopping programs through discretionary funding through the Borough President's Office. And we have different programs that have different activities that help people maintain memory, hopefully increase memory, decrease isolation, and decrease depression, which we all know comes along with Alzheimer's and dementia. What's really unique about our program is that we are not age specific. So if you know somebody who's very young, and we have members that are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that have Alzheimer's disease, they come in, they use our cognitive computer programming, they work on arts-based media programs, Tai Chi, yoga, meditation, different types of music. We do karaoke, we do the best karaoke. Everybody loves karaoke. But, so we have different programs, so with the Lotus Club, that's a program that I helped to create with a grant from the Brookdale Foundation back in 2007. So the Lotus Club was created for people with early memory loss that did not qualify for senior services because of their age. So this program teaches them how to research on a computer, medication they might be taking, side effects, journaling so they can track their progression or track where their strengths are growing. And then we have the cognitive computer program on the top. We have a therapist that comes in twice a week. She not only works with our members, she works with members of the community that come in that are still working and active in their community, but are experiencing memory loss and want to maybe improve their memory or track so they can know when to see their doctors and when to take their medications. We do all different types of improv and theater groups, dance therapy, yoga. Okay, next one. And so the Memory Life Services is our core service. That's a service that's provided to those living with the latest stages of Alzheimer's disease. So New York Memory Center trains its staff in hands-on care and care for people with Alzheimer's. So they can assist with toileting, feeding, ambulation, transfer from wheelchair to chair, and also to do the basics of, just brushing their hair or putting their own coat on with buttons and, anything we can do to support them so that they can maintain in their homes and their community and that their caregivers don't stress out as much by having to put too much pressure on them to do too many things for people. So if you notice, we have a lot of student volunteers, we have social work interns, OT interns, high school interns. We do a lot of intergenerational. We have 2 wonderful schools, one in our own building, which is run now by the New York City Department of Education. But, they come down and do poetry. The Alzheimer's Poetry Project was created in our center in 2005. The Memory Arts Cafe was created by the same poet, Gary Glazner, and myself to bring joint enrichment to caregivers and their loved ones. Caregivers can come and learn how to present the arts in their home to maybe redirect somebody who's sundowning or who's having behavioral issues for any other physical or mental reasons. And our evening respite program is from 2 to 7 p.m. It's for people who are sundowning or maybe more active in the evening and need that, energy to wear out so they can go home and get a restful night's sleep. And, so I have to tell everybody, so some of these logos were drawn by Megan's husband, who's a wonderful graphic artist. And I told him, I want a bus. Look at my bus. This is our bus, but it's kind of like a cartoon. I think he did a great job. Yeah. So our transportation has wheelchair accessible lifts. We have trained escorts and trained drivers. They're trained in equipment, they're trained in redirection and hands-on care. Uniquely about our program again is that our staff is always with the members. So they pick them up. The drivers and the escorts then turn into the program staff, then turn back into the drivers and the escorts. 2 minutes? Okay, well, I'm going to hand it over to Megan. Thank you.
So, can everyone still hear me? Yeah. Okay, so our family resource program, as I mentioned, I'm the caregiver social worker. That means I work with family caregivers who are caring for someone with memory loss. I also do a lot of work out in the community, doing outreach, and sometimes reaching caregivers who don't even realize that these services are available, including support for them. These are some photos from community outreach at some churches, the Brooklyn Public Library, and the Welcome Room that are fairly recent, but we're always out in the community doing different things. And then through the Family Resource Program, we have one-on-one care coaching. We also have caregiver education, whether it's at SUNY Downstate with many different doctors and researchers, or it's a more community-based lecture. Actually, the one on the top is Eva Bell from the Alzheimer's Association, and it's here at Restoration Plaza Economic Solutions Center. We've done many workshops there, and we also have the legal workshop on the bottom there at our center. We also have caregiver wellness, so we have outings, activities, basically ways that caregivers can get a break and do something fun. We go to plays, we have many, many different activities, yoga for the caregivers that we've done. Memory Arts Cafe, Josephine had mentioned, and it's something that's for both the caregiver and the person with memory loss who they're caring for. So we have some of them out in the community, at the Ample Hills Ice Cream Factory, and some of them here at our memory center. And those are open to the public. If you're interested, you can always contact us to get more information. And we hope that you learn more about New York Memory Center at the end of our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your help. Yeah, no problem, no problem. Get that pointer when you're done.
So, if you have any questions for the New York Memory Center, you'll be here for a few minutes. Okay, you can see them here or maybe in the back. We're gonna move on to our two public hearings. So we have two public hearings related to business trying to get letters of support for liquor licenses. So the public hearings are coming out of the Economic Development Committee and will be introduced by the chair of the Economic Development Committee, Mr. Taiwan.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. So we have two public hearing sessions this evening coming out of the Economic Development Committee. The first one is an alcohol beverage control license application for Brew Hospitality. Pronounced that the correct way. They are located at 1567 4th Street on the corner of Albany. And we have two representatives here that will be giving the presentation. The committee performed a site visit. I forgot what day it was, but the committee did perform a site visit. So we have Emmanuel Travis, the owner, giving the presentation.
Brother, down and forward. Yeah, how do you open it up? Like I saw. I'm gonna turn it off for you. I just want you to down and forward. Okay, since you pointed. Okay, cool.
Good evening, people. I want to wish everybody a happy new year. My name is Emmanuel Chauvinas. I'm here to present and hopefully get.
Saying this so you can see you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Again, I'm Emmanuel Chauvinas. I'm here to present and hopefully get a letter of support for our new venture and Bedford, Stuyvesant. Born in Haiti, a little bit about myself, born in Haiti, but raised in Brooklyn, New York. School here, and for the last 19 years have lived in Bedford, Stuyvesant. We are looking to open a social bar and eatery, Ritual BK, hopefully will be the name of it. And we are looking to not only add an additional eatery in the community, but also a venue where folks can come and gather for all different types of gatherings. We'll be located at 1567 Fulton Street. That's a picture of the current location. And it's on the corner of Albany. So for any business to be successful, we think there's a couple of things that are very, very important. So we are passionate about it. And that is service, the quality of food, and the energy that's afforded or put forth in the business. Our main goals are that excellent service, great food, great beverage choices. In addition, we look forward to offering a very comfortable venue for our patrons in the community, and make the space part of the community. These are our hours of operation. We hopefully be open between 11 a.m. and midnight during the weekdays, Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays. Hopefully, we'll have business from 11 a.m. to 4 a.m. It's a little early at the stage, but I think it's worthwhile to put up. We started with 10 positions, 10 different positions, and we're looking forward to start with at least 30 employees. These are the information needed if further along folks are interested in forwarding their resumes. This is the tentative plan for our space. That is the main floor. The main entrance will be on Fulton, and this will be it right here, where you enter into a hall, where that'll guide you into a cold reception area, and hopefully a hostess to receive you into the space. I don't know how much time I have to go into the detail, but this will be one of the main entries, and then you'll have entries and exits here and here. We'll have a main bar, and this will be the main space. And then on the slower nights, we'll have a smaller front space up front on the Fulton entrance. Our main bar will be here, kitchen here, bathrooms, and so on. We have a lower floor, which is the same size as the main floor, which is about 3,100 square feet. We're looking to having 2 conference rooms and office and storage and refrigeration and so on, and additional bathrooms. We thought that it's important to reach out and get in touch with these essential firms that will be part of our process of build out and so on. So we look forward to working with this security firm that we have some experience with. This is the camera company we look forward to use, and definitely use this company for all necessary soundproofing, so that noise is not does not become an issue or a problem with our neighbors. This is a quick sample of possible menu options, appetizers, and entrees. Well, lucky I went through the last real quickly. And that's basically the presentation. I don't know if the board has any questions.
Yeah, so at this point, we're gonna go to our public hearing. So we have 2 microphones. When you start, can you please give your name? So it can be on the record. Thank you.
There's a question on the front of the floor.
Sharon Perry, let me make this clear. I'm not speaking as an employee of Interfaith Medical Center. I'm speaking as a resident, lifelong resident of Bedford, Stuyvesant, who lives around the corner from this proposed establishment.
Brother.
Thank you. I have some concerns, and my concerns are that corner is one of the hottest blocks in Bedford, Stuyvesant. It is so hot that the police department will not even allow them to have block parties on Albany Street. That block is so hot. On Tuesday night, when I was coming from watch night service, you have on that one block, that block between Truth and Albany, and the block between Albany and Martha's Garden, in that 2-block radius, you have 4 event spaces. You have Thomas Place at 1585 Fulton Street. You have Swing, which is directly across the street from this proposed location. You have 1587 Fulton Street is a location that just opened up a couple of months ago. That's called the Bedford spot. On Tuesday night, they had a party there. The kids was between the ages of 15 and 21, serving alcohol to minors. The police department was called in. It was 150 kids outside of that establishment because they could not fit into the establishment where the party was. They began to have a fight and everything else. That corner on that block, and I'm missing, across the street, you have Swings. Next door to Swings is a door that leads downstairs. That's another spot. And next door to that is Orgies, where they've been having a lot of robberies and stuff in that area. It's been coming out of that location. So I would ask that this board would think before giving a letter of support for a liquor license in an area that we already know is a hot spot. Fulton and Albany have more shootings than anywhere else in that immediate area. So before we throw out another liquor license, let's think about the safety of the people in our community.
Thank you. Give him a chance, he wants to respond to the comment.
First, we're looking to be a legal business. You mentioned business there, having a party with 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds serving alcohol. Now, we know that business is going to be closed tomorrow.
That business is not going to be closed tomorrow. We're working on something. It won't be closed tomorrow, but it will be closed.
Right.
Okay, let's get it straight.
So I don't think that's a good sample of what we're looking to do.
Okay, so then let's do this. Across the street from your location, so let's forget about that. Across the street from your location, there's 3 spots. You have Orgies, next door you have Swing. Next to Swing, you open that door, you go down in the basement, and there's a spot there. Supposedly all legal. So if you want to deal with the legal, they're all supposed to be legal. All right? That one particular spot that I said, what's the address again, Charlie? 1587 Fulton Street. It is a legal spot. They shouldn't have had that party there on Tuesday night, but it is a legal spot. It's an event space. Okay, so those young people had adults to go in and rent the space, and then they showed up for the party. So it's an event space. You know, so you're having a restaurant, which is all well and good, but you're also having an event space there also. You have 2 floors that you're gonna have occupied, so you're gonna be renting those spaces out. I don't know what part of Bedford-Stuyvesant you live in, but I lived on Albany, Fulton, and Decatur for 23 years. That block has been a hot spot for everywhere. That block has more shootings than anywhere else. You have 90 families. I don't know if you know this. There's 90 families on that one block of Albany between Fulton and Decatur. 90. In 5 apartment buildings, there's 90 families.
Now, I live 4 blocks away from there. I live on Malcolm X and Bainbridge, so I'm not far. It's part of my neighborhood. But I'd like to say, the more open business that's in an area, the better it is. The better surveillance, the better light, the better people walking in and out. That block, if I'm not mistaken, was rough even before those businesses were there. Businesses in general, it's not of my opinion that they're the one that causes an area to be quote unquote hot. On the contrary, I think it's helpful given who frequents it, the type of business it is, and the security that business brings to that location.
Okay, we gotta take it. I'm sorry. Check out the riffraff that hangs out in front of Swing that hangs out right under there under the cup by the social security go up is drinking and coming out of school. Check that out.
Okay, can I take a minute?
So we're gonna have to take another question.
Okay, Emmanuel,
What's your name?
Jamila Swift.
Thank you.
I live around the corner from this block. I call this block the contact high block. Broadcasted, we get a serious contact high. So I am concerned, as she is too. But I do, just knowing you personally, I do think you have the potential to do something really upscale and nice there. So are you planning on doing any type of outdoor seating along?
We are not, the space is big enough as is, it's 3,100 square feet. And because of the bike rack that's there, we don't want to encumber it anyway. So we are not looking to do that.
And you're gonna have extensive security? To alleviate her concerns?
Not only hers, but I think my concerns is even higher than hers. Because we will be well vested into the place, we'll have new business.
Her name is Sharon Perry.
I'm sorry, no. What is it again?
Sharani Perry.
So my need for security is equal, if not higher, than Mrs. Perry's. And for obvious reasons. Nobody wants to go into a new business, spend the kind of money that is necessary to open it up and not be wary and careful about the security needs. And that's why we're already in communication with a firm regarding.
Any other questions from board members of the public? Yes, we have a question over here. Okay.
Yes, my name is Doris King. So I wasn't clear, is this a restaurant with a bar or a bar that sells food?
It's a social bar and eatery. It's,
because on your floor plan, if I read it correctly, I noticed about over 20 stools in bar, bar with over 20 seats.
yes,
And tables I didn't see.
we do have tables there, but it is a large space. Again, it's 3,200 square feet. I am an older gentleman, and my clientele is an older clientele. It's shameful that somebody has a business and has 15-year-olds drinking there. And I would imagine doing something like that if you close within a month. Mrs. Perry knows better, she tells me no, but I don't know a bigger infraction owning a liquor license than selling to underage kids.
They don't have a good.
Okay, we have, I'm sorry, there's another question over here.
Wait, I just have one more quick question.
Okay.
And that is, you have 2 exits from the basement?
Yes, there's 2 from the basement and 3 floors. There's 2 for the lower floor, 3 for the main floor. And I just wanna add one more thing. I don't think it's, businesses that are acting in an illegal manner should not be put up against businesses who are looking to get a proper liquor license and operate. And I guess that's why Mrs. Perry said they're not gonna be closed on it, they don't even have a liquor license.
Okay, we have a question on my right.
Yes, hi, can I be board? I'm the board member. I'm just curious as to why, if this area, Albany and Fulton has been such a hot spot, why it has not been addressed by the police board or by the police, and why these halls or venues have not been closed down. It's really unfortunate that this area has such a reputation, and we cannot do anything about it. And I don't think it is fair that if somebody who is credible and has a sense of style of coming in and trying to create a better vision for the area should be put in the same corridor category as the other clowns there. So we as the community board really should work hard to close those illegal spots and try and create a better arena for other quality organizations or companies to come in and have an impact, a positive impact in the area. Thank you.
All right, we got another question here.
Did you want to add anything to say anything about that?
I will agree wholeheartedly. And again, I'm not a security expert, but I do feel the more positive energy that's in a corridor, the better it is. There will be cameras, there will be quality people, there will be security, and anyone who's looking to do something that's not on the up and up will be looking elsewhere than under that microscope.
Okay, to my left.
So really quickly, I'll touch on that a little bit. So again, we do have, the purpose of the community board is to filter some of those complaints. If anybody sees anything like that going on, you should call the community board. The NYPD, they have a task force designated to go after a lot of those spots, right? So obviously, if somebody's serving alcohol to 15 and 16-year-olds, they're not coming before the community board saying, give us an SLA, give us a liquor license. They're doing that illegally. So as members of the community, it is our job, like what Kenneth said, to report that stuff. We call Mr. Butler at the community board office, and as you can see, the 79th and 81st precinct, they were just here. They have specific nighttime task force that go after a lot of those night spots.
Make it clear that NYPD is working on that. It's not, that's why I said it's not gonna be closed tomorrow, but they will be closed. NYPD, I spoke with Chief Landry, and it's on the 79th precinct side, not the 81st precinct side, and they are working on it. It's that one particular spot, but it's like I said, there's 5 other spots here.
Good evening. Good evening, Karen Cherry. My concern is, I understand, you're up in business and I applaud you for what you want to do. But I ask the board, if you do approve this, I need you to look at the hours, especially on Sundays. When it comes to worship, people can worship in their room. And I think the respect needs to be given. You have churches in that area. You consider some churches not churches because it's attached, but they have services in it. You have 4 churches in that area. Not 1, not 2, but 4 churches. Another, you have block associations that you need to meet and sit and talk with. I didn't hear any of that within your presentation, who you met with, who you speak with. People need to know what is coming in their community and what you're all about. You come and you present today with a 20-minute presentation, but you have people who are rooted in this community, that's been there, that sit on block associations that's present, that don't know anything about you, and you didn't go and as well as the board. I mean, I didn't hear anything about a block association being spoken to anything. And I think all of this needs to be considered, especially if you're gonna open up on a Sunday at 11 o'clock and across the street they're worshiping. Where's the respect?
Hold on. Sorry, so I was gonna wait till
when you give your report.
So I'll just need to say to everyone, there is a process, right? There is a process. Before applicants come here, before all of you, they come before the committee. And I'm not sure what happens throughout, but this committee, every single business that presents, a member from the committee is selected, and we go out and do physical inspections of the site. We actually physically go. I was at one last Saturday, right? So every board we have Mark and we have Keith for the other chairs. We make sure that we assign somebody to go out to every single place to do a physical inspection. And there's an application that they do submit. They have to have 25 signatures. They also have to have letters of support from the local area, from the immediate area. And we thoroughly look over the 25 signatures, and we thoroughly look over these items.
So you can, when you give your report, can you give, whatever additional details about the letters of support and whatnot? Okay.
Good evening, Santina Payton, board member. I'm curious about, I heard you said bar, but I should ask the question in terms of, is it a bar or is it a restaurant? Are the foods going to be catered? Are you that some people on board. How is the food being demonstrated?
We're gonna have a kitchen, we're gonna have a chef, we're gonna have a sous chef, we're gonna have cooks, but, it's gonna be in-house.
And what's your capacity?
Our capacity is at, I think it's, well, it's not built out yet, but I think it'll be in the range of 220. But that will depend after it's built out.
Okay, Tony Hackaway, board member, I just want to attest to Emmanuel's, clientele. I know that, through the various bar associations that I'm a member of, he has, just curated events on behalf of attorneys, and I know his clientele, so I can speak to, what he has done, and he's a member of the community that should have the, amount of standing. I understand, Ms. Perry's point, because security is an issue in our community, but I saw the reputable firms that were presented, and I think that he should be given a chance.
Good evening. I want to wish you a healthy 2020.
What's your name?
My name is Jibril.
Thank you.
I want to say happy new year, as a healthy new year to all of you. I would like to just make a few comments, mainly about a lady, I forgot your name, I'm sorry.
Perry, Mrs. Perry.
Mrs. Perry, right? I work with Emmanuel, and I'm going to tell you this. I was out there doing a petition because we were not able to locate a black association because it was during the holidays. But I tell you this, I went out there twice. During the day, it still looks rough to me. The people hanging outside, it looks really rough. But I'll tell you this thing that might be very funny. That one night, around 9 p.m., I was out there, trying to meet people on, I think, 27th Albany. One lady got out of her car. I went to approach her, excuse me, she ran. You understand? So I'm like, she might be a little scared. And when you raised earlier about that space, that black not being safe, I've heard it from people that I have approached about telling them about our business and this thing that we're trying to do. And them not being able to have a black association, I heard it before today. And the guy who told me that, he told me if I want like, what do you call it, an exterminator, to let him know. He's the one. So we are pretty aware of that. I'm very happy that you mentioned that one business that was selling alcohol to underage people. But I believe that when stuff like that happens, we should not just wait until the last minute. You understand? I don't want my little brother who's 15 years old to play with alcohol, go out there, get drunk. It's not safe. We are not that type of people, and I want to ensure you that we're working with security, not only, but I also understand your concern. I would also like to thank Jamila for her comment. Like when we are certain type of people, we do a certain type of business. You understand? But that business is legal, not compared to.
Thank you for your comments. Any other questions or comments for the applicant?
Is it, you're gonna have a
Okay,
DJ
let's
live music?
open the mic, please.
Are you having a DJ and live music?
Not live music, but possibly features, yes.
We have one more question.
I'm Campbell, board member. Can you talk a little bit about your experience? Because I didn't see anything in your presentation that talked to your prior experience with running a similar establishment.
Well, I'm from a real estate background, but I in hospitality as well. I've worked in nightlife for the past 15 years in different capacities, and I've opened other businesses that are not necessarily a restaurant, but I have general business exposure and experience, and I've also managed nightlife businesses before.
You want to tell us which businesses you have?
There's a business that is closed now that I managed from 2000 2004 to 2007 in East Flatbush, and I'm also part of the management team of Voodoo.
Okay, I think we have one last question. Somebody get a mic to this very head. I don't think anybody can hear you.
Could you give us the name of the location of one of the community places where you were serving the
Back in 2004, at 67 Ocean Avenue, I managed that business as well.
Is that the food plan?
No, that's not the one I just
Were you
mentioned.
associated with food plan?
I was, yes.
Yeah, I know you from.
Right, you mentioned Voodoo Lounge before, so I'm gonna have to close the public hearing. We do have another public hearing, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna have a second public hearing. Introduction is gonna be given by Mr. Taiwan Eddy, Chair of the Economic Development.
Okay.
Moving along to the agenda, we have our second public hearing, alcohol beverage control license application for Casa LLC. They're located at 310 Tompkins and have it between Quincy and Gates. And the presentation will be given by the two owners.
What's the cross street?
Questions or questions?
You have the,
Yeah. Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. Thank you for having me. Okay. This is fine. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Okay, my name is Emmanuel Atala, or Man Chef. I'm from Italy, and I moved here with my wife in '94 and opened my first restaurant in West Village in '98. Still open, goes Maltesta restaurant. I do have some menu here, but I'm very surprised because I deal with the report number 2 and 3. And I tell you, this is very nice. And I see so many people in the board very confident. So beside that, I opened Maltesta in '98, still open. And then I opened 10 years ago Malaparte restaurant in West Village. And then I opened 11 size spaghetti incident here. Okay, and I'm a chef, and I do restaurant businesses like all my life. This is my partner Salvo, and he's working with me for 6 years. And we decided, because he's living in this community, to open another Camel restaurant in Dalton Street, and we do have a formal representation, and give to you my partner Salvo.
Everybody, thank you very much. Try to be quick so we can have time for questions. My name is Salvatore. I've lived here in Bedford for 10 years. I've lived in Brooklyn for about 20. I have 15 years restaurant experience, including with Manu here. A little bit about the restaurant. We're on Tompkins Avenue between Quincy and Gates. As of right now, there's a Tompkins Avenue Merchants Association. We've met with them. We have their full support. We plan on working with all of the neighborhood businesses. We seat about 35 to 40 people. As you can see, we do have a backyard, but we don't have any neighbors there, or there. So feel pretty confident that we're not going to be disturbing anybody. For those who don't know Tompkins Avenue that well, we're just about a block and a half away from the precinct, so very safe area. Well, you know what I mean. This is how 310 Tompkins has looked for about 3 years now. Definitely time for a change. Not crazy late hours, we are not a bar. We don't have a bar, we have a small service bar for making the drinks, but it's really a restaurant. Authentic Italian food, fresh pasta, small plates. But want to stress, not a bar. You know, a lot of bars have opened up in the last year, 2 years, 3 years. Obviously more to come, but we're a family restaurant. Covered just about all of this. This is our sample menu. A little bit hard to see from there, but a lot of basic stuff, but all authentic, all house made. And if anybody has any questions afterwards, if they don't think of it now, feel free to call or text or email.
Thank you. You finished your presentation.
Well, I figure, you know, the nuts and bolts are all pretty obvious. One of the times for
Good. We're going to move into our
comments, feedback.
Yeah. Any questions from the public or board members?
Any questions?
Yes. Do we have a light? Joe, left?
Hi, Janella Sue. So did I see that you said you plan on hiring from the community out there, or?
From within the community, yes.
The reason why I ask is, I noticed there's a trend with Italian restaurants where they tend to hire staff that speak Italian. So that's kind of limiting who you're going to hire. So, I mean, one of the concerns that many of us on this board have is that certain new establishments don't hire from within the community. So, if you're just that.
Yeah, so obviously I see that as well. What can I say? I don't think that a Italian restaurant needs to have people that speak Italian. They just want it to be a good restaurant. So a good restaurant is really good food, good service, a place where you can go, take whomever, not feel like, you know, fair value, et cetera, et cetera. So more specifically to your question. As of now, we've only hired one person, and that's my neighbor. He lives on Hancock, between Brick and Thomas.
When we say within the community, I'll speak for myself. I want to walk in, and I don't want to be the only Black person in the restaurant. I'm just being fair.
Understood.
So I'm concerned as a member and a resident of this community. I would like to see a reflection in staff that looks like me. I'm not telling you to hire, I'm just expressing my concern, that's all.
Yeah, well, I'll just say from my point of view, I don't like going to restaurants that are all one color. I don't like not seeing diversity. I've been working in that side literally my whole life. So when I was a kid, my parents had a butcher shop right here in this neighborhood. I used to deliver meat to this very location. So all I've ever known is in Bedside, it's a Black neighborhood. No sense in putting in it and not having diverse staff. To me, it's just completely wrong. So I've worked with, at Taiwan's suggestion, I went to Ready, Willing, and Able, which is a place, for those that don't know, it's basically, I don't know how to describe it, but I think that's like the way to do it, to go places like that, because I'm not like a headhunter, but I know that I can go to people that we trust, that already care about the community, you know, that I can reach out to the community board and to neighbors, and I think that'll work.
Okay, we have to have a statement from a board member.
I need to
What's your name?
My name is Oma Holloway, board member. I'm accusing myself from this public hearing because Tompkins Avenue Merchants Association provided a letter of support for, and I am the interim treasurer for TAMA.
Thank you.
Any questions? You have a question?
Any other questions?
I just have one question. You're on top.
What's your name?
I only have one question, because you're on top between Quinn Quincy, and Gates. I can tell you Bed-Stuy, I can close my eyes and tell you everywhere in Bed-Stuy. You're on Thompson, Quincy, and Gates. Right at the corner, when you cross the street there at Gates and Tompkins, there's a laundromat. Right next to the laundromat, there's a store. Right next to the store is St. Paul's Church. Yeah. That is a staunch church with a big congregation in our community.
Yeah, so that would be Tompkins Avenue, there's a lot of churches.
Did you meet with them?
And I've stopped by, I've met with many churches. I stopped, but
Do me a favor.
I've met with the Pentecostal church.
I don't play hopscotch and I don't jump rope. I asked you one question. Did you meet with them? All I want to know is that you can tell me, I went to St. Paul's Church, I met with the people at St. Paul's Church. There's about 7 churches on Tompkins and on Gates Avenue between Tompkins and Church. Some of them are not standalone churches, and that is a criteria that it has to be a standalone church. St. Paul's is a standalone church. That's why I specifically asked about St. Paul's.
I have stopped by every single church on Tompkins Avenue, including St. Paul's. I don't think I actually spoke to anybody that represents the church.
Okay, any other questions?
I spoke to people in the congregation.
Okay, listen. I just told you I don't play hopscotch and I don't jump rope. I asked you one question, you gave me an answer, yes.
Do we have any other questions? Yes, ma'am, go on. What's your name?
Okay, hello, Jamila McGill. It was more just a comment to the community board in general, because it seems like they gained support from the town community. I guess my thing is just thinking long-term about who is getting access to these licenses for the future, and that it's always a diverse set of people who are getting the licenses, who are getting support as small business owners. And so Tompkins can remain a place that has a lot of Black women-owned businesses. So I noticed that the other guy, for me, it felt like he got more heat, the Black small owner business, than this gentleman here. And I don't know how to play on like implicit bias, or maybe it was just that his presentation was a lot cleaner. But I just want to make sure that we're thinking about the future and who's popping up and why. That's it.
Hello, my name is Bedford. My question is, you passed out a menu. And this menu, in addition to this menu, had a card of a restaurant called Spaghetti Incident. What does Spaghetti Incident have to do with your organization? What would be the name of this restaurant that you are proposing?
Okay.
And what is Makosa
Okay,
LLC?
Makosa is the name of the restaurant, also the name of the corporation. So the name of the restaurant can be Makosa. In front of you, we have one of my restaurants that I opened 5 years ago. It was Spaghetti Incident in Lower East Side. But if you look around, you found out also Malatesta restaurant, and also Malaparca restaurant. Then I was the restaurant was Village. I give you this chance to sit, take a look at the menu, just to have an idea of the price that I have in my restaurant. It goes like trattoria. So I'm not Cipriani, not because it's not good, but I have a kind of patience of a chef. With trattoria is a typical cuisine from Emilia Romagna. So I give to you just a chance to see the price and the business that they run now. Just to give you an idea.
Thank you.
It's gonna be like basically a copy if you want of the address.
Thank you.
Okay, we have another question.
Come over here, brother.
My name is Karen Cherry. One thing I didn't see is the time of opening, and when you plan to open at what time. And being that, if it is granted, I have the concern about the churches, because you have so many, what would be your time? And would you consider, if you are, would you consider working with the community, during those church hours?
Sure. So if you can see from where they're sitting, 5 to 10 during the week, 5 to 11 during the week during the summertime.
But it says we can't open until, what is open?
So here, I'll just answer your question specifically. We're gonna start out 5 p.m. to midnight on the weekends. And then once we have our feet under us, we're gonna open for brunch on Saturdays and Sundays. And that'll start at 11 o'clock. Brunch will go from 11 to 4, and then we'll start dinner time from then. That's on the weekends.
Midnight on Sunday?
No, Friday and Saturday. Sunday is gonna be treated like a week.
Any other, we have one question on my left.
My name is Joyce Patel. I have a question. If it's not a bar, why do you need a liquor license?
Yeah. Well, for the main reason to sell wine is a really big part of Italian cuisine. So beer and wine, but also the occasional cocktail. It's just it's nice to be able to have a cocktail after dinner. It's nice to be able to have a Bloody Mary during brunch. It's an important part just from a business standpoint, and it's an important part as far as making it the best restaurant that I can be. To say we're not a bar, but we're not gonna have a bar that people are sitting at till like 2 in the morning.
Establishment with the restaurant. So it's a room establishment. It's not it's a restaurant.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, if not, I'm gonna close this public hearing.
Well, thanks everybody for your time.
Members of the Economic Development Committee, you can caucus.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the next part of our agenda. Community announcements, and if you could please be ready in this order. Rebecca Horn. Block Association, Park Avenue Block Association, Azoria Fields, Deborah Newberg, Gloria Navas, Rusty and River Fields, Shawana Fine, Faustina Cowley, T. Anderson, and Jamila McGill. In that order. 2 minutes. Rebecca Horn here. You can come up to the front. Azoria Fields. Is Deborah Newberg here? Come to the front and come over.
All right. Good to see you. You're great. What's going on?
Gloria Navas, Rusty and River.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Happy New Year. My name is Izora Fields, and I'm a real estate agent with the Proven Winners team at Compass. And on, I had the wrong paper in front of me, but on January 16th at 6 p.m., we will be hosting
wealth creation seminar teaching how to create wealth through real estate. Now, as we all know, Brooklyn is being gentrified. There are a lot of changes going on here in Brooklyn. And I don't see why people who are already living in the community and are already a part of the community can't join in on investing in the community. So I believe that home ownership is a great path towards wealth creation and protection of your funds once you do earn them, right? So there are some flyers on the table outside about the workshop. It is a free workshop and registration is on Eventbrite. So register on Eventbrite and come on by and learn some things about home buying. We'll also have a credit repair person there as well. So don't think that, if you have bad credit that you can't purchase homes. A lot of these people that are investing in the community are cash buyers. And you can also learn how you can become a cash buyer even though you don't have the funds in your bank account today. Thank you guys. Have a good evening.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year. My name is Deborah Newberg, and Deborah Newberg. I'm with Set Development, and I'm just here to get the word out that we have a building in the neighborhood down 1825 Atlantic Avenue, corner of Buffalo. That we've got a community facility space that's just now vacant and ready for someone new to move in. It's set up as an early childhood education center, and it's a beautiful space in a new building we built in 2010. And so we're reaching out to see if anyone here or anyone you know in the community is looking for space and could use it. We'd love to have another great daycare or early childhood ed provider move in as soon as they're ready. So I've left flyers at the front that hope they'll take it, and if you know anyone, take them with you in case you meet someone, let them know. We really love a great group to move in. Just for condos, it's 6,000 square feet and 6 classrooms. It's got a commercial kitchen. It's got a rear yard with playground. It's got everything, and office space as well. So just wanted to let you know. Thanks so much.
Do you have a number?
Yes, it's on the flyer. But I can also just tell you right now. It is 718-388-9407. And I'm at extension 16. And my name again is Deborah Newberg.
Thank you. Ms. Claudia Nava's here.
I want to give you a card when I finish. I want to get one. Hey, Deborah, I want to give you a card because I have enough for perfect.
Hello, everyone.
Right?
Good evening and happy holidays, or happy New Year. This coming Black History Month, my brother Rusty and myself, I'm River, we're launching a preschool here in Bedford. It's called Avalon Prep. We're just going to talk a little bit about what it is and really why we're launching it at this time. So good evening, everyone. So Avalon Prep, we're reimagining education in the 21st century. It's a destination for accelerated play-based early years education designed to create an interactive and engaging learning experience. We decided to start this project. We were under about reading national reports census and academic reports that stated that African American students score lower on math and reading than their Latino, white, or Asian counterparts. What's even more unnerving is that this educational gap begins by 2 years of age, which is before children even enter traditional school system. And it extends to 4th grade, then onto 8th grade, and then by the time we reach high school, it's like the gap is so broad that it's almost impossible for us to recover. River and I both want to be neurosurgeons. We're really passionate about education. Through our nonprofit, we raised $15,000 in 3 weeks in 2016 to sponsor 40 students from the Bedford Stuyvesant community to attend the Harvard Mock Trial program at Harvard University. We've run free after-school tutoring programs, summer math and literacy programs, multiple iterations preliminary to this project. We've both been homeschooled our entire academic careers. For me, up until college, we've been writing our own curriculum since 12 years old. And so the curriculum we've designed for Avalon Prep is really a combination of our own personal experiences, best practices from the leading teaching philosophies around the world, and the current leading approaches to learning from behavioral neurobiology and neuroscience. Really what motivated us to do this, I'm currently a junior in neuroscience at the University of Pennsylvania, and last year I was in Oxford University in the UK in biochemistry. And what we've observed is that whether it's in Philadelphia, in the UK, or here in Brooklyn, New York, Black students, we have the lowest test scores in math and reading across multiple subjects and across standardized tests. And it's not because we don't have the aptitude, it's because we're not presented with the opportunity. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We don't have questions.
That's right.
But you can talk to them. You can talk to them. They're gonna be here. Actually, the father's here as well. I went to elementary school with the father.
Oh, nice.
So I just want to say we have flyers in front about the program, and we're really asking you to help us spread the word about this program. Through this program, we're trying to disrupt the way education is delivered to the African American community. And I can spread the word.
So they'll be here if you have any questions. You can talk to them after the hall. Is Shawan Fine here? Christina Howley?
Hi, Happy New Year, everybody. My name is Christina. I am a resident of Bedford. I live on Falls in between Bedford and Nostrand. And one of the things I wanted to really just make people aware of, if you have not already seen it, is on the corner of Nostrand and Fulton, there seems to be an abundance of homeless and mental illness going on there. And I did speak with the 79th Street Precinct earlier tonight, and he did give me some information in terms of what can be done. But I just wanted to make a public announcement and wanted to say, if anybody agrees with me that something needs to be done, just say yes. Yes. Okay, because there's 2 instances that have happened to me personally, and I know I'm not the only person. There's someone who came up to me like 2 inches away from my face asking for $1. I knew he was sort of off his meds. The other one was 2 nights ago, somebody was holding their thing, standing out there with his pants down, screaming at the top of his lungs, and I'm standing there going, this is out of control. So my question, and I know this is not a question and answer situation, I know that the board has been working with the precinct and the various departments. What is it that we as citizens and the community can do and help out? Because I feel hopeless, and my child who's walking with me to school feels hopeless. And she's like, why is this happening? And I'm going, it's a long story, baby, but I'm going to talk to the community board. So that's my announcement.
So, you wanted to speak to that just briefly, Mr. Butler? Because we have met with DHS and the police department on that specific, about that specific corner, or those corners in Nostrand and Fulton Street.
So we did have a meeting last month with the Department of Homeless Services and with the 79th Precinct and with Breaking Ground, an organization that is contracted by the Department of Homeless Services about that corner. So basically what happens if there is someone, we have a lot of encampments over there. So if there's someone that feel they start an encampment, please call 311, then please call our office, myself, Ms. Knight, Assistant DM. We will let DHS know right away. They will be out there the next day to end sanitation to basically take out an encampment. Now, what has been happening, we'll take it down, and some way, somehow, 2 days later, they'll be right back with all of their possessions. I don't know how that happens. So it's a constant battle. This is a much deeper crisis than the city is acknowledging. It's the mental health issue. And at this time, you cannot force anyone into a shelter or into service unless they are a danger, an imminent danger to themselves or to the public. You know, so if they are in front of a property and say the property is abandoned, only the homeowner of that property can then request the 79th precinct to have them removed. If they are causing some sort of nuisance or health problem, then yes, you can remove them on those bases. But yes, it's an ongoing problem on that corner that we are constantly fighting with, but we are on top of it with 7-9 and with the Department of Homeless Service and breaking ground. We know there is a shelter, the Bedford shelter right on Bedford Atlantic. A lot of them most likely coming from down there. But right now, it really is a mental health issue, and the city, I personally feel they're not dealing with that, with the mental health issue. That's the part we need to be focusing on.
So I have two more people, T. Anderson. Okay, Jamila McGill here from the T.
Hello, everyone. I don't think I need a mic. Okay. All right. Can you hear me? Yes. I used to be a teacher, so I found myself I need a mic. But okay. I'm Jamila McGill. I'm co-owner of Brooklyn Tea. We're on North Stream between Fulton and Macon. I own it with my partner / fiance. We have some of our beautiful Brooklyn Tea family members out here today. I just wanted to say thank you guys for all your support. If you haven't been there, please come. For my folks who are concerned about liquor, we don't have any. It's just tea. Not too long ago, we had the honor of hosting Sisters with Purpose to honor District Manager Henry Butler for his great service. We've had the privilege to partner with a lot of our Bed-Stuy neighbors, whether it be Greedy Vegan, who has our tea, Brooklyn Blend, and so it's all about cooperative economics for us, how we can support and build each other up. We're celebrating our 1-year anniversary on January 19th. And this is really special and important. We're talking about the pressures of gentrification and what have you, but here is a Black-owned small business that is up and running and thriving in its first year. So I encourage you to support, and I look forward to seeing you. Our location is 524 Nostrand Avenue, again between Fulton and Macon, right at that corner that we were just talking about. And you can follow us at Instagram, Facebook at Brooklyn Tea. Thank you.
Thank you. You gotta take a roll call now, Mr. Secretary.
Okay, ready for roll call? Babatunde Akwe. Present. Felicia Alexandra. Present. Taiwan Anthony.
Present.
Monique Antoine. Monique Antoine. Dr. Kim Best. Lillian Bowden.
Present.
Anthony Guzera. Michael Catlin. Vanessa Clark. Vanessa Clark. Ivy Gamble Cobb. Evelyn Collier. Pastor Gwendolyn Dingle. Tayana Evans.
Here.
Richard Plateau.
Here.
Mark Paisel. Sharon Forbes.
Here.
Pete Forrest.
Here.
Gregory Glasgow is excused. Shia Greenfeld. Mary Jameson Head. Present. Abby Robinson Hobson.
Present.
Omar Holloway.
Present.
Everett Hughes Everett Hughes, are you here? Victor Iro is excused. Keisha Jerriman. Present. Edna Johnson. Dr. Curleen Johnson. Present. Dr. Deborah Lamb. Here. Lisa Lewis.
Here.
Mary Little. Dionisio Liz. Party Joe Long is excused. Debbie Matthews. Kenneth Abono.
Present.
Ellen Miller. Melissa Cloud Norman.
Present.
Satina Payton. Here. Cedar Penn. Here. Simone Pratt. I'm here. Karen Rao.
Present.
Carolyn Richburg. Wendy Robinson.
Present.
Stacy Ruffin. Present. Suzette Shepherd.
Present.
Jamila Swift.
Here.
Chinyalu Udo. Alicia Walton.
Here.
Reverend Dr. Robert Waterman.
Present.
Doug Williams. And TJ Wilson.
Okay, while the secretary's checking to see if we have a form, we're going to move to our committee updates and resolutions. Any committee updates? Okay. Committee chairs, please come forward. No committee updates, resolutions?
Civic and Public Safety will be meeting tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock in the Community Board 3 office. At 6 o'clock sharp, I try to start my meetings at 6 and we end by 7:30. So please come on out and meet some of the community affairs officers of the 79th and 81st precincts. If they don't show, the regular NCO officers and board detectives will be there for both precincts.
Okay, for, Housing Land, they normally meet Wednesday, second Wednesday, but for this month, they are meeting this Thursday, the second Thursday, 6:30 p.m. And the meeting will take place in the 1360 building on the 5th floor. That's what it will take place, the 1360 building on the 5th floor for Housing and Land Use. So no Housing and Land Use meeting Wednesday, Mr. County. The meeting is Thursday, 6:30 p.m. in the 1360 building on the 5th floor. Also, Health and Social Services, their meeting for this month is Thursday, January 23rd, 6:30 in the board office. And for February, it's going to be Thursday, February 20th, 6:30 in the 1360 building on the 5th floor. I'll repeat that. Health and Social Service of this month, they're meeting Thursday, January 23rd, 6:30 p.m. in the board office. For February, it's Thursday, February 20th, 6:30 p.m. in the 1360 building on the 5th floor. And the Bed-Stuy Housing Initiative is next Wednesday at 6:30 right here in this room.
Good evening. Transportation, Sanitation, and Environment, Mr. Butler gave our updates in his report, but we will have our meeting Tuesday, January 14th, and the Department of Transportation is scheduled to be at that meeting, so please come out.
Thank you. Any other committee updates? No resolutions? Okay, we're gonna move on to action on the public hearing, so board members are gonna be voting on the two public hearings. So to give the report on the two liquor license applications, we have the chair of the Economic Development Committee, Mr. Taiwan.
Good evening once again. So really quickly, I'll go over the process before we get into the vote. I'm gonna make it brief. I'll go over the process of what we do on the committee level and how the SLA process works. So when we get a notification that a business wants to establish here in Bedford, we schedule them to come before the committee. When they come before the committee, we have committee members here, that are board members, and they will present to us. Basically, the presentation that they gave here, it's a longer version. So the general public gets the 5-minute condensed version. We get the 30-minute version, and we ask them a multitude of questions. After that, someone from the committee goes out to do an actual site visit. So we will physically go to the space, we will meet the owner there, or whoever the representative is, and we will walk up and down the building, and we will make sure that everything matches up with the application that they gave us. Application-wise, we have a stringent application. They have to have a minimum of 25 signatures and two local business letters of support. Also in that, you have a school rule and you have a church rule, right? We have a 500-foot rule and a 200-foot rule. In regards to churches, and this is SLA standards, it has to be a standalone church, right? So a church that has ground level operating and also residential units on top, that does not count as a standalone church, all right? And that's from door to door. That is the rule. And for schools, we have a 500-foot rule as far as the school. So what we do, we look over that application, so when they come here, we make sure that they have those minimum requirements met. The letters of the signatures, we make sure that those signatures are as local as possible. If there is a block association, we will ask them to make sure that they go out and get the block association letter. At the committee level, what we do, we want to ensure, so we want to promote economic development in our community, right? So we want to make sure that good businesses are coming in, that good businesses are hiring locally. Every single business that comes before us, we tell them about Restoration Jobs Plus program, hire locally. So don't put a help wanted sign in the door. We have relationships with Restoration, and they have a Jobs Plus program of individuals that have qualifications and certifications to work in these establishments. That's what we do. So that's just a quick rundown of what we do at the committee level. So you all definitely ask those tough questions, and we make sure that we tell every business what happens. That general public is tough. You're going to be asking tough questions. So we prepare them as much as possible before they come here. So that's just a quick synopsis of the process that takes place on the committee level. All right? So with that being said, we're going to talk about the first alcohol beverage control license application for Boo Hospitality, located at 1567 Fulton Street on the corner of Albany Avenue. And the committee recommends a letter of support. Here's the reason why. As we caucus, that being the fact that that area had a host of issues, we believe that the owner in his prior experience will bring a different level, will bring a different clientele, and will make that area at least a little better and kind of alleviate, hopefully, some of those issues that's happening there. So that's what the committee, that was the gist of what the committee put forth. So we believe, again, the committee believes in promoting and making sure that good businesses are coming in our community and that they're doing the right thing, right? And just a little bit more, what we're doing, not to be long with this, I apologize. What the committee is going to do, we're going to start what we have done in the past, but we're going to streamline the process of making sure that we're following up with a lot of these businesses, right? So it's not just about thank you for coming here, and we won't see you again. We're going to make sure that we're going to start following up with some of these businesses, because I'm not sure. So the statistic is, and I did this myself, and just so everyone knows, that the committee just doesn't hand out licenses. 40 to 45% of businesses that come here close within a year. 40 to 45% of the businesses that come before the committee, whether we vote yea or nay, they're closed within a year. And some of them had some very good food. And we're not talking about just bars or clubs. Some of them we're talking about actual sit-down restaurants that are closing within a year from a whole host of different issues.
Okay, so you heard the recommendation from Mr. Simon Anthony. The recommendation was for a letter of support for Bo Hospitality located at 1567 Fulton Street. Is there a motion from one of the board members?
So second.
Okay, that was Edna Johnson and seconded by Babatunde Okoye. Any discussion on the motion? Yes.
What the chair just stated. All of that information should have been given to the new members that just came on the board on what you do. You tell them after you have a presentation that is not a very good presentation.
Okay, any other questions on the motion? Okay, so I'm going to call the question and we're going to take a vote.
Call the vote.
I did. I'm sorry, I forgot to announce, we do have a quorum, 37 present, 13 absent.
Babatunde Okoye,
Affirmative.
Yes.
Felicia Alexander. Taiwan Anthony.
Yes.
Lillian Bowman.
Yes.
Anthony Guzera. Michael Capman.
Yes.
Ivy Gamble Cobb.
No.
Evelyn Collier. Evelyn. Yes. Pastor Gwendolyn Dingle.
No.
Taina Evans.
Nay.
Mark Fazel.
Yes.
Richard Plateau.
Yes.
Sharon Forbes.
Yes.
Keith Forrest.
Yes.
Mary Jameson Head.
For the sake of all the young people in that area, no.
Abby Robinson Hobson.
Yes.
Oma Holloway.
No.
She was, you upstairs.
Yeah,
she was, okay. Keisha Juryman.
No.
Edna Johnson.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Ms. Johnson? Okay, thank you. Dr. Curly Johnson.
Yes.
Dr. Deborah Lamb.
No.
Lisa Lewis.
No.
Debbie Matthews. Debbie Matthews.
She left.
No.
Kenneth Mbuno.
Yes.
Ellen Miller. Melissa Cloud Norman.
Yes.
Santina Payton.
Yes.
C. Doris Penn.
No.
Simone Pratt.
Yes.
Karen Rao.
Yes.
Carolyn Richburg.
No.
Wendy Robinson.
Yes.
Stacy Ruffin. No. Suzette Shepherd.
Yes.
Jamela Swift.
Yes.
Alicia Walton.
Yes.
And Reverend Dr. Robert Waterman.
We have our report on the second public hearing and recommendation given by the Chair of the Economic Development Committee, Taiwan Anthony.
So for the second alcohol beverage control license application, for Mocosa, LLC located at 310 Tompkins Avenue between Quincy and Gates. So we do have a stipulation for this one due to the fact that there is a church, a standalone church there. And so what we will recommend a letter of support with the contingency that you guys clear that 200-foot church wall. All right? Understand that? So, all right. So we will vote yes. We will vote yes to recommend them a letter of support, being that they clear the 200-foot church wall. Question.
The presentation does not say that 200
I think doesn't the SLA look at the distance from the church? Application? It's actually in there.
All right, all right. Okay. All right, so I will take that back. All right, so being the fact, again, apologies, so being the fact that the SLA application states that they do clear that rule, the committee recommends a letter of support. All right?
Okay. Board members, you heard the recommendation from the Chair of the Economic Development Committee for letter support for Mocosa LLC. What's the location? 310 Tompkins?
310 Tompkins.
Located at 310 Tompkins Avenue. Is there a motion on the recommendation?
Excuse me. Make a recommendation.
Excuse me,
Whoa.
something's been great. Go ahead.
Is there a motion?
So there was a discussion. There's a discussion on this end of the table.
We need to have a discussion after there's a motion.
So
So who by Edna Johnson, second? Who was the second? Evelyn Collier, seconded. Okay, now discussion on the motion.
Come on, wait.
Huh?
There's a
What's the
discussion on
question?
the table in regards to the foot feet for the school. It's less than church. It was just church discussed over here.
So it's a question about how far the business is from the school. And what's the school?
PS 305.
PS 305.
200-foot rule for school. 200. It's 500 for other businesses.
Is it in their application?
Yeah, it's here.
Let's everybody turn to the page. Check it out.
Right, it's 200.
It's 200 for a church.
For school also.
No, 200 for a church, 500 for a school. 200 for a church and 500 feet for a school.
But it says 480. That's the question on this.
So here's the rule, the 200-foot rule, the alcohol beverage control law, states 200 for a school, church, or synagogue, place of worship.
It's,
Y'all not listening.
the rule is 200 for
It's 200, that's what I said. You said it, you said it.
No,
Yeah, it's 500 for having a number of businesses. Okay, so what's the distance? Okay, the distance is beyond the 200 feet.
The distance is 480.
Any other questions on the motion?
I think they're not clear here.
It's clear.
You gotta be 200 feet.
So nothing for 200 feet. Nothing for 200 feet.
Any other questions? We have another question. It's on. It's on.
So in the application, there's you have to list what schools and churches are within 500 feet. They listed those locations, but the law requires that it needs to be at least 20 feet, and both the locations are beyond 200 feet.
Okay, any other questions on the motion? Motion is to give a letter of support. If there's no other questions or discussion, I call the question.
Babatunde Akaway.
Yes.
Alicia Alexander.
No.
Taiwan Anthony.
Yes.
Lillian Bowman.
Yes.
Anthony Guzera.
Yes.
Michael Catlin.
Yes.
Ivy Gamble Cobb.
Yes.
Evelyn Collier.
Yes.
Pastor Gwendolyn Dingle. Taina Evans.
Yeah.
Mark Pascal.
Yes.
Richard Plateau.
Yes.
Sharon Forbes.
Yes.
Keith Forrest.
Yes.
Mary Jameson Head.
Abstain.
Abby Robinson Hobson.
Yes.
Keisha Jerryman.
No.
Edna Johnson. Oma is abstained. Dr. Carleen Johnson.
Yes.
Dr. Deborah Lamb. Lewis, Lisa Lewis.
No.
Kenneth Bono.
Yes.
Ellen Miller.
Yes.
Melissa Powder Norman.
Yes.
Satina Payton.
No.
C. Doris Penn. Abstain. Simone Pratt.
Yes.
Karen Rao.
Abstain.
Carolyn Richburg. No. Wendy Robinson.
Yes.
Stacy Ruffin. No. Suzette Shepherd.
No.
Jamila Swift.
Yes.
Alicia Walton.
Yes.
and Reverend Dr. Robert Portman.
Oh.
Okay, so, I'm gonna give the result for the first vote regarding Go Hospitality, request for a letter of support. This is located at 1567 Fulton Street. Vote was 23 in favor, 12 against, 1 abstention, so the motion carries for letter of support. Okay, regarding the second vote, that was for COSA LLC, request for letter of support. This is located at 310 Tompkins Avenue. The vote was 23 in favor, 9 opposed, 4 abstentions. You got 1 recusal.
Yes. 4 abstentions.
I'm sorry, 3 abstentions and 1 recusal, so the motion carries. We just have 2 more things. So I have a very brief chairperson's report. First of all, I want to say that we have a record holder for the council member that has stayed for the longest amount of time in the community board. Council member Alika Anthony looks like she's staying to the bitter end. There's 2 other things. During the month of January, I'm going to be reviewing the attendance with the help of the board staff and the board secretary, Stacy Buckley, for new members. And as a reminder to the seasoned board members, please keep in mind that per the bylaws, you are required to attend at the very minimum the meetings for your primary committee. So we may be taking a vote next month to remove people, so we take it very seriously. Second thing, we're going to be working on a board retreat, and I think the theme this year is going to be team building. So Abby Robinson, sorry. And Michael Catlin are going to be working on the retreat. And then, 2 other things. Please be sure to look out for your emails and go to the website for the Borough President's Office for board members. Some of you have terms expiring in March, so please be cognizant of that. And lastly, some guidelines were sent out for training and education. You know, I think we're the only board in the city that budgeted money for training and education. So board members, if you could please have your request in for any training and education by January 15th. Contact the board office if you have any questions about it. So that concludes my report. Is there a motion on acceptance of the December 2nd minutes?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
All in favor?